Hello, I'm Dr. Joe Dennis. I'm an assistant professor of mass communications here at Piedmont College. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about research and how to use the Piedmont College Library for your research purposes. Of course, this is all to prepare for the Piedmont Symposium, but some of the stuff I'm going to tell you will be very useful in your academic career and maybe even beyond. So the first thing you're going to do is, of course, go to the library's website, and it's very simple to type that in. It's library.piedmont.edu. And if you haven't been to the library website recently, they have updated it to actually make it easier to do research. Right here on the front page, you'll say Discovery Galileo, and that is the search engine we're going to use to do our research. If you're doing research in more specific areas, you can go into this drop box menu and you can find different specific areas. But we're just going to keep it general right here. And I'm going to type in vaping because let's say I want to do some research for a paper, for a presentation that I might give at the symposium. And I have no idea where to start, but I'm fascinated by this topic of vaping. So I'm just going to type in vaping and I'm going to click search. And if you're off campus, which I am right now, it's going to ask you to log in to your Piedmont College account. And I'm just going to do that. And that's because Galileo is a very expensive research tool that is exclusive to researchers and academia. And so you really want to take advantage of this opportunity while you're a Piedmont College student. So you can see here, my search for vaping, right away, I get 65,667 results. Now that's a lot, of course, and that's a lot to go through. But I want to show you why this is a lot better than just searching on Google. So let's say I'm on Google and I want to do my research and I'm just going to use Google and I type in vaping, I get 115 million results. And on Galileo, which is kind of focused on more academic research, I get 65,667 results. So you see it's a lot less, and we're going to narrow that down. But I want to talk a little bit about the difference between different types of research. When you're conducting academic research, you ideally want to use scholarly journals. Now, why is that? Because on the internet, you look at vaping, and the first source, Johns Hopkins Medicine, that looks like a credible source, so you might want to use that. Then you get the CDC, the American Heart Association, Kids Health. So all these websites are pretty good websites. But then you see here at the very bottom, you get vaping.com, your one-stop vape shop. And that's obviously not a source that we would want to use for research on vaping unless we were going to talk about prices and stuff like that. But if we actually want to get some good research on vaping, we're going to want to use the library website and we're going to want to use Galileo. So back here I am with 65,000 plus results. Now, one of the things I can do, if you look here on the side, I can limit my searches to full text, scholarly journals, books that are available at the library, and of course, the publication dates. Now, good research has a recent publication date. So I'm going to go ahead and change my publication date from whatever it was, 1800. I want to look at research published maybe in the last 5 years. So I'm going to scroll this down to about 2016. So I'm only going to look at research in the past 5 years about vaping. And so that's reduced my search results by about 10,000 or so. Um, and now I'm going to only look at scholarly journals, peer-reviewed journals. Now, what's a scholarly journal? You may have heard many times people talk about climate change and they say things like, well, 99% of the scholarly journals, talk about climate change being real. Scholarly journals are journals that are written by scientists, researchers, people in academia, people who have done a lot of research on specific issues. And the thing about scholarly journals that makes them more credible than things you might find on the internet is that there are peers That's why it's called peer reviewed. There are other scholars in that area, scientists, um, PhDs, people who also do research in that area, who pretty much vet everything that's published in that journal. So for something to get published, typically what will happen is you submit your research to them, they'll send it back to you. They'll either say, yes, we accept this, no, we don't accept this, or we will accept this, but you need to make these changes. You need to do this about your research. You need to clarify this. And so scholarly journals are highly vetted. So only the best research is published. And that's why scholarly journals are some of the best things to use. So I'm going to go ahead and click scholarly journals here because that's what I want to limit my research to. And now I'm down to 20,000 results. And because there's plenty of results here, I don't want to have to go digging too much to find my results. I'm going to also do full text. Now, what full text means, you see here in this article, it says PDF full text. That means I can download the article or view the article right from my own computer. I don't need to go to the library or request an interlibrary loan or pay extra to get it. So I'm just going to click full text. So now, as you can see, I've limited my results down. We started with 68,000. Now we're down to 10,150. I'm only looking at full text, scholarly reviewed articles that have been published since 2016, within the last 5 years. Okay, so that's still a lot of research results. And how am I going to narrow that down? Well, one thing I can do is vaping is a very broad topic. And let's say, yeah, I'm interested in researching vaping, but maybe I really want to look at vaping and teenagers because there's been a lot of studies done, and we all know, you've all been in high school, how if you didn't do it, some of your friends do it and still may vape while they're young. So I'm going to do vaping and let's see if teenagers, what I get there. So I'm going to do vaping in teenagers or adolescents or young adults. So some popular search terms for vaping will come up. So now when I click search, it's going to search for anything that has vaping and teenagers or adolescents or young adults in the search query. So let's see what that reduces me to. All right, so it about put it in half. So about 5,494 results. Still a lot, but you can see here how we're narrowing things down in our research. I might want to add one more search term. Maybe I want to focus on how vaping can be addictive, especially when you start at such a young age. So I'm going to type in here addiction, and you can see here addiction pops up right away as one of my search terms. And I'm going to click search. And again, it's going to narrow my results. So I'm down to 3,000. Still a lot. Some things you can do to minimize your search results. Let's say we only want to do search. We wanted to make sure vaping, teenagers or adolescents or young adults, and addiction was in the title of the research. Then we could search it by title. Let's say I just wanted addiction to be in the title because I really wanted that to be the focus of my research. I'm going to click search, and you can see now I'm down to 70 research topics, research things. So that's pretty manageable. You could also change here that we want to just, instead of it being and, we want to say not. So let's say we don't want anything that focuses on substance abuse. Okay, we're not going down that route. We could click not, type in substance abuse, and click search, and then see what kind of results pop up there. So a lot of it, just like internet surfing, is just playing around. So now I'm going to go into my research. So I told you that I'm focusing on vaping, I'm focusing on adolescents, and I'm really interested in looking at vaping and how students get addicted to it, potentially in high school. So I'm going to look at some of my journals here, some of my search results. We can see here there's an article about treatment, and this is published in Clinical Alcoholism, Clinical and Experimental Research. This one is published in Tobacco Control, May 2020. Now, these are all scholarly journals because we've narrowed it down to that, okay? Journal of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. I'm interested in this. It really focuses on teens and addiction. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this and I'm going to see what pops up. Now, the first thing you're going to see here is you're going to see the, the abstract for your research. So you can kind of see if this is something that you really want to look at. And you can go ahead and read through this. One nice thing about the system of Galileo is if you're interested, you could go ahead and email or save your citations because y'all know you have to cite when you write research. So you could go ahead and just type your email address. And what it's going to do is it's going to send you a link to the research. So when I'm doing research, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and just send anything that I think I'm going to use to my email. And that way I have a nice log of what my research is and I don't have to go search for it later on. Another nice thing is in my field, we write in the APA style. So I will go ahead and send that to myself. And what that will do is it will actually send me the bibliography, the thing I would put in my works cited bibliography page in APA style, which is very convenient. Okay, so now we're looking at this article. I want to do the full text of this, but there's no link here to the full text. So I'm going to click on Full Text Finder and see what comes up here. And so this is telling you that you can find this article in full text from Ovid, whatever that is. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And doing a lot of stuff trying to find this article for me. And there we go. Here is the full text of the article that I'm looking for. So if you're like me, you probably like to, or you'd like to print stuff out. It's easy to print stuff out through this tool by just going to print preview, and it should, I'm on a Mac here, so it should open up your printer option. And it just did that on my computer. You can't see it though in this recording. The other thing that you could do, because this is going to be a lot of stuff, you could go ahead and save your articles as PDF. So I'm going to look at this as a PDF here. And so this is exactly a scan, a replication of what the magazine article looks like, which is really nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this, and it should be able to save to your computer wherever you want it to. So I'm just going to go save it as smokescreen. And then this was in that nurse's journal. So you save it where you want, and then you can access it later on. So that's basically how to use Galileo, how to find research on certain topics. Let's go back to my home screen here. I want to go back and I want to show you one other thing. So that is a way we had to look a little deeper to find that full text. Some articles will have the PDF full text right here on the front page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and right away the full text will show up. And these are nice features when you can get that to happen. As you're doing this research, if you find an article, one of the secret strategies of academic research, if you find an article that's like, wow, this is exactly what I want, this is it, this is the article that really sums up everything I want, but your professor says you need 10 sources. So what do? One thing you can do is you can go to the studies, and at the end of every study there will be a bibliography page, okay? And sometimes there'll be links, but you could go ahead and search for the sources that they used, and maybe you could find more information about a specific area that was located in the study that you're looking at. I'm going to go back to my result list. I want to show you one more thing. So I showed you how you can send the abstracts to yourself. I showed you how you could find the research that you want. Let's go into another piece. Let's say I wanted to look at this research. Now you can see here, It gives you links where you could click on links and you could find the articles that, let's say, Linda Richter um, wrote in other academic research journals, um, and those will pop up here. So if you have a specific researcher you find that is consistently coming up, you might want to see some of the other things they've done. It also gives you other search topics here. You might find something like, oh, wow, this is the journal that I absolutely want to look at. So you can go ahead and click on that journal, and you could go ahead and search all the articles that have been published in that journal. So let's look at the most recent issue. And these are all the articles that were published in the most recent issue of the American Journal of Drug and Alcohol Abuse. So now that you know how to research academic journals, I want to show you some other types of things you can look for. So let's say academic journals are great for finding research and statistics and experiments and things like that. But let's say you just want to look at some general news about vaping and the how news has spread, and how it's been covered in the media. Well, again, we could go to Google and we can look at vaping, and we could go ahead and click at news, and it will show us very recent acts that have to do, acts of Congress, government influence in vaping, things like that. But one of the issues that we have quite often when we do this on Google is you might go into a website that you feel is really good and it has the article that you want, but you may not be able to get into that website because you need to be a subscriber to that website. And that's where Galileo comes in handy as well, because as a Piedmont College student, you're helping to pay to get access to all the different news organizations out there. So I'm going to keep my search terms the same, and I still want to find full text. I unchecked scholarly peer-reviewed journals, and right now, instead of academic journals, I want to search news, and maybe I could also search magazines here, and let's see what I come up with here. So I came up with roughly a little over 1,000 results here. And you can see the different types of publications it's giving me. This first one is from Education Week, a publication very much used by educators. This is an article in New Yorker, which is a popular magazine. Of course, everyone knows Time Magazine. So let's go ahead and look at this Time Magazine article, Inside the Dangerous Rise of Juul. I could go ahead and click on that. It'll give me the details. Um, and again, Time is something you would have to normally have a subscription to be able to read anything on their website to access all the information you want. But right here, you have the exact full article, including some statistics. So this type of research using news sources for research is very helpful, especially if you're trying to find things that are very generalized in your research. So the academic journals help you get into the nitty gritty of your research. The verifiable media, the mass media, helps you get into some more general information that you can share. So, for instance, you could find something in here and you could say, according to a 2019 article in Time Magazine, uh, Juul controls 50% of the market of vaping. So that's your research there. And again, with these, you could save them again. So that's a really nice thing about Galileo too. Not only does it give you access to thousands of academic journals, but it also gives you access to thousands of media entities that you would normally have to pay to subscribe to. I hope this helped you learn how to conduct some research online using the library. One thing I want to point out is that librarians at Piedmont are very helpful and they want to help you. That's what they actually get paid to do. They get paid to help you. How many people can you say that about here on campus or anywhere in your life? So use the library resources, use the librarians to help you. Give them a call, use the little chat function on the website, or come visit the library here in Demarest, the Arundel Library. And I promise you, they will help you with your research and help you put something good together and I hope to see you at the symposium. Good luck.